So as a musician, I find a lot of really, as a former musician, I find a lot of excitement and hope that radio, this transition in radio will bring to people. But to the brass tacks of this, we do feel that after a lot of years of forging new ground, which we've all done collectively, that the business model for web radio is really starting to come together. We see a lot of signals in our experience, and Doug was up here earlier, who was a big role on our sales staff, which is now getting to be pretty large. We have, I think, some good visibility into what's happening on the advertising side, the agency side, and the client side, the folks that feed the radio business that I think are very significant. The first is we're seeing the beginning of a shift of broadcast dollars into the internet radio. And this is coming from big established agencies like PhD, Horizon, Group M, Universal McCann, money that is in local broadcast radio budgets being used to buy advertising on Pandora. And that's growing. We're also seeing even a change in the language and the templates being used by agencies to offer up avails. So they'll actually, Pandora is referred to as WPAN or KPAN on sheets now. And we're getting included on buys that, again, were traditionally the sole domain of broadcast radio. So very exciting. Another big signal is the growing demand from local advertisers. I think most people who know the broadcast radio business know that it's primarily driven, its revenue stream is primarily local. And as Pandora is reaching scale, as we have a lot of people in Chicago and Waukegan and Duluth and New York and so on, our ability to be a potent local advertiser is really growing. So we're seeing, for example, car dealerships begin to buy advertising on Pandora, one of the real mainstays of broadcast. So we've had dealers of Toyota, Ford, BMW, Jaguar, Honda, Acura, Mercedes, buying and renewing campaigns. And I have a quote here from an auto leaser in Dallas who says, "Wow, I have launched many campaigns, TV, radio, print, and never had this kind of initial success. You even reach my potential customers when they are out of Dallas on vacation." Nice. Hospitality, another really healthy industry for us, trying to put people into hotel rooms and spas and resorts, etc. Another quote, "As the media buying agency for a resort client, we have been using Pandora to advertise rooms, shows, dining, and spa services. The client reports the results are tremendous, with a significant increase in website visits as well as acquisitions. The client continues to reallocate radio budget over to Pandora. Results are so impressive, many of our hospitality clients have followed suit." We're also doing a lot of stuff with grocery. Jewel Osco is a client of ours. We did some really interesting things with Whole Foods where we did a campaign that started in the Bay Area targeting a distinct set of Whole Food stores, each with a different message. So I think Palo Alto got an advertisement for sushi, San Francisco for, I think, prepared meals. It's kind of the modern version of copy splitting. But the web can do it in a really robust way. One of the largest beverage companies on the planet recently added Pandora to the avail for their largest radio market in Los Angeles, right up alongside the major radio providers in that DMA, and we were purchased. So again, being part of the process, which has taken many, many years, and I think, of course, driven by growth, another strong signal of what's happening with web radio. Entertainment's another great category. Every studio, Paramount, Warner, Universal, Sony, Fox, are advertising both film and TV. And that includes a day of or tune-in campaign. So go to the theaters tonight, watch this TV show tonight. We're getting a growing amount of business from that category as well. Again, traditionally a very strong, one of the strong suits of broadcast radio. Here's a quote from our Fox executive. "Pandora has been the ideal partner for us in that space. With Pandora, we achieved our highest ever click-through rate in the entertainment category last year with the launch of MasterChef." At Pandora, we consistently run over 500 simultaneous campaigns on the service. And that, what allows us to do that is just the ability to target. We obviously have scale, but we can disperse our advertising, do it locally and so on, and it allows us to kind of address a much larger batch of advertisers. And I'm saying Pandora, 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 but I view this as a proxy for other web radio companies that are growing into this space. I just think that the advertising industry is recognizing that this is a good place to spend money. And that is really, really important. And it has not been true for a long time. Another area that I think is really notable, I'm going to knock that thing on my computer, I know it, is a growing demand for more accurate measurement. It is the bane of internet radio's existence, but it's the pull or push for it, whatever you want to call it, is growing. So I think that it's coming from clients first, and they're pushing it into agencies. And it's clients who have become steeped in the world of digital advertising, where the standard for measurement and reporting and ROI, et cetera, is much higher. And they recognize that this is a medium now that can literally give you data. And so the chorus, I think, for that is growing. It's a big issue of ours. We put a lot of effort into it and are really hopeful that, as we begin to publish the data that was quoted earlier, and as advertisers and agencies recognize this and how this is changing, that'll begin to surface more. I would actually argue that it's the agencies that get this now that are going to be thriving 2 to 3 years, because I think it's the reality they're going to have to understand. I think the rapid rise of Triton and their ANDO measurement, which has been very rapid in terms of this industry, is just another signal that people are hungry for data. They want to know where people are. And they want to know where they're listening and for how long. It doesn't matter what the medium is. It's, where are they spending their time? I don't think that the history of radio, which is more in the world of kind of approximation, AQH, skew, et cetera, I think that that's not going to survive a much more robust world of data. We view accuracy as the friend of internet radio. The more accurate it is, the better it is for us. And I think, I say that writ large. I think we've been weaned on a data-centric business, and I think over time that'll seep its way into this industry. So lots of good signals coming out of the advertising agency and big agency and client business that bode well, I think, for the future. And I think perhaps the strongest signal of all is that Kurt sold out his conference this year. So very strong indicator of the health of the business. I think there's a handful of reasons why I think internet radio is beginning to draw advertising dollars. It's targetable. That's, I think, self-evident. But it's also a multimedia platform. So it's sight, sound, and motion. You can put an audio ad or a commercial on Pandora or whatever internet radio, fill in the blank, but you can accompany that with a visual impression, a call to action. Doug demonstrated some of those. It's a much richer, more engaging experience. It leads to higher engagement rates, higher click-throughs, higher conversions, better results on all of those metrics that matter so much to advertisers. And that allows us in turn to strike a really nice balance in terms of the listener experience and the advertising load. Really a sort of sole share of voice for advertisers. I think is sort of attractive to that business. So I think really good news on the financial front, on the business front. I think I don't know if I'm running over time. I've lost complete track. No, I'm all right. Okay, great. The engine of this, more than anything, of course, is what's the consumer experience. Why is internet radio growing so fast? This audience, the reason that these metrics are all growing, the reason that agencies and advertisers, clients, et cetera, are coming to this medium is we have reach and we have these capabilities, but I also think it's because they're reaching listeners when they're really, really engaged. A personalized radio experience is a little different because you can control it, you can craft it. We get an enormous amount of correspondence from Pandora listeners, tens of thousands of emails every month. We answer them all individually. Lisa, I congratulate you on doing the same thing. I think it's really good practice. And when people talk about things they want or things they like or don't like about Pandora, they say, we shouldn't do this. We should add this. They feel a sense of ownership in the service. And I think that winds up being reflected in their engagement. We also hold, for the last 5 years or so, I've been actually traveling the country holding town hall meetings, inviting local Pandora listeners, using our ability to reach people, geographically, just to come together and talk about music. And we started them very modestly. The first one we did was actually in New York, almost 6 years ago, I guess 6 years ago now, at a cafe in Midtown, and 2 people came to the first town hall. We sat around a little coffee table, and for like an hour and a half, had this really fantastic conversation from 2 real power users, had all sorts of ideas. I did a town hall meeting there about a year ago, and 1,000 people showed up to it. And there was a line out the door and around the block. It was a cold night, and we spent 3 hours in this bookstore just talking about music. I mean, people came from all walks of life, all sort of areas of musical interest, and they were just kind of back in the game again. I still remember we did a town hall in Des Moines a long time ago, and there was a fellow who showed up, sat down in the front row. He was probably pushing 90. And he was really super energetic, and he was fired up because on Pandora he was listening to marching band music that he had played when he was in the Navy in World War II. So he was hearing all this great music and things he hadn't known about, and he was just all jazzed up. And I realized over the course of the evening that he thought that Pandora was a marching band music radio station, and that he was coming to an event for marching band music radio station fans. And you could see him looking around as we were talking about punk music and country and whatnot, like, wait a minute, what station are you, what product are you using? But it was the ultimate compliment for us, That is the power of this form of radio. It's that you go to it and it reflects your preferences. He didn't even know that we had anything else in our catalog, because Pandora's whole design is about really understanding what you want and honoring that. So I think that leads to a very, very potent connection with your listeners. And I think internet radio does that in all the forms that we do it. Ours is not the only one. There are many forms, and I think they will all have their appeal, but I think listeners are getting to participate in radio in a way they haven't never been able to do before. So I said a lot of things here. I do think this is really about personalized radio. I think that listeners are coming after it, technology is driving it, and advertisers are coming to it, and I think musicians are benefiting from it. So I think it's one of the real bright spots in the industry, and our goal, is nothing less than making personalized radio available on every smartphone, on every computer, in every car, in every home and office, and gym around the country, all over the country. And we're kind of looking forward to doing that with all of you. So thanks for having us here. And Kurt, thanks for putting on a great conference. And we look forward to doing this a year from now. All right.